What's up, Tech Gang? Stefan here from TechRight. Today we're going to be comparing the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G to the Stylo 6. Now I know these vary in price, but I think you guys are going to still want to see this video. Stay tuned. Alright everyone, so hope you guys are having a great day. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there. Today we're going to be comparing the Stylo 6 versus the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G. Obviously put in the comment section down below which phone is more worth it, because we have about a $700 to $800 difference between these phones, which is a very big gap. So starting off with the displays on these devices, we have a 6.9 inch display on the Note 20 Ultra, and we have a 6.8 inch display on the Stylo 6. For the resolution, we have a 3088 by 1440p resolution on the Note 20, and we also have a 496 ppi. That's a 2K screen that we get on the Note 20 Ultra. Now going to the Stylo 6, we're going to have a 2460 by 1080p screen. That's going to be 395 ppi, so about 100 ppis less, and that is going to be full HD instead of 2K. Now as for the display technology, we're going to have a dynamic AMOLED screen on the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Obviously this is the best screen you're going to get in town, and we're going to have an IPS LCD screen on the Stylo 6. Now as for the screen to body ratio, the screen to body ratio is going to be much better on the Note 20 Ultra. We're going to have about a 92% screen to body ratio, and on the Stylo 6 we're going to have about an 82.5% screen to body ratio on that device. Now going to the features, we do have 120 Hz refresh rate on the Note 20 Ultra, HDR video support, scratch resistant. This is going to have Corning Gorilla Glass Victus and an ambient light sensor, as well as a proximity light sensor. Now for the Stylo 6, we're going to have scratch resistant glass, an ambient light sensor, and a proximity sensor. So not as much as the Note 20 Ultra, but I still think you guys are getting a decent value. Now moving on to the chipset, and this is obviously where the Note 20 Ultra 5G shines. We have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 Plus chipset compared to the MediaTek Helio P35. Now as for the processor, we're going to have an octa-core Kryo 585 on the Note 20 Ultra, and we're going to have an octa-core processor, but it's going to be an ARM Cortex A53 on the Stylo 6. Now as for the RAM, this is a huge difference as well. The RAM on this variant of the Stylo 6 is only about 3 gigabytes of internal RAM, and we actually have 12 gigabytes of RAM on the Note 20 Ultra 5G. So it's kind of just blows this device out of the water. Now as for the internal storage, we have about 128 gigabytes of internal storage on the Note 20 Ultra. Available to use is 107 gigabytes out the box. Onto the Stylo 6, we have 64 gigabytes of internal storage. Outside of the box, you're going to have about 42 gigabytes to actually use. So these are kind of close. I really can't knock any of these devices because they do have pretty decent storage on them, and it goes up to about, I think, 512 gigabytes on the Note 20 Ultra, but there are no other variants for the Stylo 6 as of yet. And something that the Stylo 6 actually beats the Note 20 Ultra on is it can have a micro SD card up to 2000 gigabytes on it, and the storage expansion for the Note 20 Ultra is only about 1000 gigabytes. Now I don't know why you would need all that storage, but that's always there. As for the operating system on both these devices, we're going to have Android 10.0, we're going to have Samsung One UI on Samsung, and really nothing else on the LG Stylo 6. Now as for the battery capacity, we have a 4000 mAh battery on the Stylo 6, which is probably my favorite part about that phone. The most valuable part about that phone has to be that battery life. It really lasts all day. The Note 20 Ultra 5G does have a 4500 mAh battery, but it does have a higher screen resolution, so it is going to die a bit faster. Honestly, I'd love to do a comparison as far as a battery draining video on both these devices. Definitely tell me in the comments down below if you guys want that. Now as far as the charging goes, we have Qualcomm Quick Charge 2.0, Samsung Adaptive Fast Charging, Qi and PowerMat wireless charging, and reverse wireless charging. However, on the Stylo 6, we only have fast charging. Really, for most users though, I don't really think they care about wireless charging. I certainly don't. I feel like plugging in your device is the best way to go, because that's the way charge it the fastest, especially for mid-range devices. Most people aren't dropping $1,200 on a device like this, so you get more features on the Note 20 Ultra, obviously. Now going on to the cameras, we have triple camera setups on both these devices. Starting off with the Note 20 Ultra, we have a 108 megapixel main camera, and that's going to be your PDAF, your laser, and your OIS camera. And going to the second camera, we're going to have a 12 megapixel telephoto camera, and our third camera is going to be an ultra wide autofocus camera, and that's going to be 12 megapixels as well. Now as far as the video recording on the triple camera setup, you can actually film up to 8K, which is UHD, which is really cool. You can film up to 8K at 24 frames per second, 4K at 60 frames per second, 1080p at 240 frames per second, and 720p at 960 frames per second. This also includes OIS, HDR, time-lapse video, hyperlapse. So a lot of the features that you see on full cameras or mirrorless cameras are actually inside this phone. So that's really impressive. Now as for the Stylo 6, our main camera is going to be a 13 megapixel PDAF camera. Our secondary camera is going to be a 5 megapixel ultra wide, and our third camera is going to be a 5 megapixel depth information camera. As far as our video recording goes on the Stylo 6, we can shoot up to 1080p at 30 frames per second. And the front-facing camera on the Note 20 Ultra is going to be 10 megapixels, and that's going to be able to use PDAF and HDR. As for the Stylo 6, we just have a regular 13 megapixel camera with really not too much technology in it. Now, as for the materials on the Galaxy Note 20, we're going to have glass, Corning Gorilla Glass Victus, and we're going to have a stainless steel frame. Now, as for the Stylo 6, it really doesn't say anything on their website about what it's made for. So we're just going to assume it's made out of polycarbonate, which is pretty much condensed plastic. So yeah, this phone's made out of plastic. Really, both these devices feel about the same. Maybe the Note 20 Ultra is a little bit, heavier, but the Stylo 6 definitely doesn't feel cheap, so that's always good news. Now, yes, both these devices have a stylus, as you guys can see, which is pretty cool. The stylus in the Note 20 Ultra does actually have a battery though, so obviously you can do a ton more different things on the Note 20 Ultra, but it's really cool that the Stylo 6 is an option for anybody that wants something on a budget. And as for the colors of these devices, for the Stylo 6 you can only get holographic white, but for the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra we can get Mystic Black, Mystic Bronze, and Mystic White. And obviously the elephant in the room, we are going to have 5G on the Note 20 Ultra 5G. Stylo 6 is not going to have 5G, and the Note 20 Ultra, if you get it unlocked in the United States, it's going to have many more bands that the Stylo 6 does not have. Now, getting into the Geekbench scores on these devices, we got a single core score on the Note 20 Ultra of 979, which beats everything on the list, and we got a multi-core score of 3204, which beats everything on the list. Going on to the Stylo 6, we have a single core score of 180 and a multi-core score of 939. The Stylo 6 does not really beat anything on the list at all in the single core score and or the multi-core score, so that's kind of sad. But the Note 20 Ultra 5G is pretty much the most powerful phone on the list, so that's always good news for anybody that wants that phone. So that is what you get if you pay $700 to $800 more on the Note 20 Ultra 5G. Obviously, I'm not saying to purchase the Note 20 Ultra 5G or try to replace your Stylo 6, because if you're on a budget, I would definitely go with the Stylo 6 and don't get anything that is over your means. But if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like down below, as well as subscribing if you're not a part of the Tech Gang already. Also hit the notification bell if you guys want to stay notified every time I do upload a new video. This has been Stefan from TechRight. Peace out, Tech Gang.